YouTube, what's going on? It's Tijon, aka Top Cyberdog, and I'm back with another video for the channel. Now, my last video, I gave a little update about what I've been into, what I've been doing, and another follow-up is the role that I was interviewing for, I did not get. I know, it hurt. Made it to the final round. Some closing notes that the department gave to me was, tested well. As far as the technical interview, team loved me, but the person that they decided on fit the department's need more than I did. At least that was the reasoning that they gave me. And I thought that'd be a great lesson to share with the community is you might think you're perfectly fit for a certain role, and that door's just not meant for you to walk through at that time. And it's okay. I've had roles in the past where I've tried for months on years trying to get into a company. It doesn't work for whatever reason. Come back to it years later, and I end up getting a role with the company I was dying to get a role from years before. So I just think it's really important to, in those times where you think you messed up or things aren't going your way as far as in your job search, you got to stay down and dirty. You're gonna have to treat applying to new roles like a full-time job if you're gonna see some kind of benefit from your, the fruits of your labor. So just to share with you guys, I'm back in it as far as applying to the different roles that are out there, and we starting back at ground zero. You might have to adjust your plays a little bit, but once you go back to the drawing board, adjust your resume here and there, reach out to some people on different teams in your network, possibly it'll pull together. All right, so without further ado, we're gonna hop over into LetsDefend. We're gonna continue the streak, pick us out a nice CVE alert that I had spotted out, and get right into it. We recently passed 400 subscribers on the YouTube channel, and I'm just humbled. Like I said previously, me making this channel wasn't for any kind of notoriety. I just want to document my journey and see if it could be of value to anybody else. So the community that we've been building up here has been really special, and it means a lot. So if you guys have any questions about the alert that I'm working on or want to see me work on any other alerts, give me a comment down below and I might go for it. All right, so without further ado, we're gonna hop over into LetsDefend, get started. All right, let's go. All right, everybody, so we are loaded into Splunk, and right off the bat, we are in our main channel where we can see our SOC alerts. And I already see a new alert that I didn't see previously, which is this one right here, SOC336 Windows OLE Zero-Click RCE Exploitation detected for the CVE 2025-21298. Okay, so this event took place on February the 4th, 2025 at 4:18 p.m. And the SMTP address is 84.38.130.118. And that was the address from the sender. All right. And the origin of the SMTP address is from this domain, project management at pm.me domain. And they sent it to our endpoint being used by in Austin. So it's Austin's email. Austin at LetsDefend.io. Email subject is important. Action required for upcoming project deadline. There appears to be an attachment named mail RTF. And RTF, for those that don't know, is a rich text format file that enables text and formatting to be embedded in the file. Okay, and then we can see the attachment hash for that file right here. We can see it was allowed on our network, and the trigger reason was malicious RTF attachment identified with known CVE 2025-21298 exploit pattern. And then we can see right here that we have the option to select the hint. And the hint that LetsDefend has given us is search about CVE on internet, analyze the attachment on TI, which is threat intelligence, check for process executions. So first, we have all of our details here. So as I state in all my videos, go ahead and copy everything from the alert, paste it into a Word document. And then what we're going to do before we accept the alert, let's get some information about the CVE. And I don't know why I copied it. I already had documentation up here. So we'll go ahead and go off of this report. And you don't have to visit this site for info on some CVE. Microsoft tends to have documentation about CVEs that affect their hardware and software. In other places, such as NIST, they will document CVEs as well. So we can already see the breakdown: a critical Windows OLE zero-click vulnerability. We can go down to more details. This vulnerability allows for remote code execution through specially crafted emails, posing significant risk to users and organizations. All right. Attackers can exploit this flaw by sending malicious email containing a harmful RTF document. When the victim opens or previews the email in Microsoft Outlook, the vulnerability is triggered, allowing the attacker to execute arbitrary code on the infected system. Okay. All right. Upon successful exploitation, attackers can gain the same privilege as the current user, potentially leading to a full system compromise. This includes the ability to install programs, view, change, or delete data, create new accounts with full user rights. Okay, so this is really bad as far as the vulnerability in the environment. We definitely don't want our endpoints getting compromised where threat actors can maintain persistence in our environment with created accounts that they might be spawning up. All right, under mitigation and recommendations, we see Microsoft has released patches to address this vulnerability as part of their January 2025 Patch Tuesday updates. All right, so if this was an actual department for an organization, like where I work at, one of the administrators does patches for our Windows devices on these Patch Tuesdays. And then he gives a breakdown of what those patches resolved as far as issues within the operating system. All right, so we've noted what the CVE actually does in our notes. Now let's go ahead and accept this ticket and get to work. So we can see we have taken ownership. That will move our ticket to the investigation channel where we can create a case. All right, our case has been created and we can then start the playbook to walk this down. All right, first play is define threat indicator. All right, we have unknown or unexpected outgoing internet traffic, antivirus programs malfunctioning or becoming disabled for unknown reasons, unknown or unexpected services and applications configured to launch automatically on system boot, other. Let's see. Based off of what we know so far, So I don't think it would be this one because we receive mail inbound, not outgoing from our endpoint. It's definitely not the antivirus option. Unknown or unexpected services and applications configured to launch automatic system boot. I'm gonna go with other for this first play, based off of what we know. I could be wrong, but I'm with my gut feeling that first decision usually is correct. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna live by the sword. So we're gonna go to the next play. Check if the malware is quarantined/cleaned. Now, if we go back to our alert, we can see under device action, it was allowed. So this means that the malware, the suspected malware, has not been quarantined and cleaned from our systems. Now the fun part. For play 3, we need to analyze the malware and find out if it's malicious or not. So this is where that Word document comes in handy, where we can then use those details to cross-reference in different areas. So let's go ahead and find that email. And the easiest way to do that is use an identifier that's uncommon. So let's give the source address query. Okay, and we can already see what we're looking for. This was the email sent to our user, and it was allowed, as we can see the final action. The sender, and then we have Austin, who is a part of our organization. Clicking on that, we've opened up the email, and we can see what our user would have saw or already saw if it wasn't quarantined. All right, important action required for upcoming project deadline. Dear Austin, we are reaching out to remind you of the upcoming project deadline. Please review the attached document for critical details regarding the next steps and your responsibilities to ensure the project stays on track. Best regards, project management team. And then we have an attachment here, and then we can see the file in question, mail.rtf. Okay, so even though the email seems like it is professional and could be legit, we do not want to interact with any kind of attachments we are not familiar with or sure of whether they're safe or not, especially if they haven't been scanned or quarantined for review. So we want to analyze this RTF to see if this email in fact is malicious in nature. So since I'm on my host machine, I definitely don't want to download this. If you want to interact with the actual potential malicious file, do so from some kind of sandboxing environment, whether that be virtual or on-premise, some kind of hardware, old desktop that you're using to sandbox with. But what we can do, since we see this as a clickable link, we can right-click, copy the link. Okay. And then we can go over to virus total, paste, and then we can see right here, this is the URL path to the possible malicious file in question. It's being hosted by Amazon AWS, which is their cloud service. And again, just because something potentially bad is using Amazon AWS doesn't make it unbad or something that isn't malicious. Threat actors are trying to get over on us every day, so they will use legitimate services such as Amazon AWS to fly under the radar, so to speak, and not be detected in environments. So let's go ahead and run a search for this zip and see if it has been flagged. Ooh, it was last analyzed 2 days ago, and we can see 7 vendors have flagged it as malicious. We can kick it up a notch and then go over to hybrid analysis and sandbox the file in hybrid analysis, because I like to be sure regarding my assessments, and I definitely want to use one other resource and not rely on one. Okay, so we'll run this in Windows 10 We can see the file path up here. We got a SHA hash as well. Let's generate the report. All right. Hybrid Analysis has flagged this as malicious as well. LetsDefend says it's clean after the update, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's safe. If we scroll down, we're now at the Relations tab. We can see the contents of that zip folder, and it is the mail.rtf file. So we can click on that and get more details about the file. And we can see Hybrid Analysis is labeled as exploit. And LetsDefend has flagged this as malicious. Okay. All right, that looks bad. So go back. Okay. Bear with me, you guys. I'm definitely checking out my notes to see where we want to go from here. So in our alert, we see the attachment hash. I want to run a search for that hash file as well. See if it comes up with anything. Ooh, it does. So this was last analyzed 15 hours ago. And this is our mail.rtf file. 22 vendors have flagged it as malicious. And this is another indicator saying that this is no good. All right. Got that. Oh, based off of our hint, we need to check the TI for threat intelligence. So let's go ahead and go to that tab. And then what we can do is query the hash. Because remember, our hashes are one-to-one, so you're not going to see another one like it in your environment. So if we're querying that, we should be able to find what we're looking for easily. And we'll select the data type as hash and run a search. And we got action. So the hash for this file has been logged in our records, and it has been tagged with the CVE 2025-21298. All right. So our own environment, our own organization has flagged this hash as malicious. So if we come in contact with the hash again at some point, it's already been flagged in our environment and we know that it's no good. Okay. Another thing we can do, let's go ahead and check that SMTP address to see where exactly it's coming from in the world. Let's paste it up here. Okay. So the address for the SMTP is not in abuse IPDB, but we can see details regarding the address as far as its location. So we can see that this is coming out of, forgive me, Latvia, and then we can see the domain name and the host name as well. All good things that we can log for our IOCs. All right. And just to cross-reference, I'm going to paste that into LetsDefend, VirusTotal as well. All right, and we can confirm of the origins, and the SMTP address is malicious as well. Okay, I'm not liking this, so let's go ahead, and I can already see, let's see if this is our user, Austin. Primary user, Austin. Okay. This is him. I want to contain this already. I'm not liking it. So we can remember from our alert that the tip was to check the processes. So let's do that since we're already on the endpoint. But until then, let's check the websites. All look harmless. We do have one terminal event that happened on the day of our alert firing off. And it looks like the threat actor ran a command that was calling out to our malicious SMTP address. For defenders out there that don't know exactly what a command line is talking about as far as the commands, I definitely encourage you to copy this, paste it in ChatGPT. Use automation tools, not automation tools, but intelligence tools such as ChatGPT to figure out what a command is doing and a breakdown of the command in detail. ChatGPT has definitely saved my skin trying to understand what a certain command is talking about or its intended goal. Okay. And then scrolling down in our network log for the endpoint, we can see again the SMTP address. And then we come over to the processes. We can see 20 have been run on the device. And I'm already seeing a process name that I recognize in the command for the terminal history section. This one right here, process ID 7023 with reg svr 32.exe. And the parent process was the command prompt. All right, for desktop user Austin, and it was running some kind of shell script out to our malicious threat actor. Okay, yeah, this device definitely needs to be quarantined. Okay. Now let's go check the wire and go over to the logs to see what we see there before we come to our conclusion. All right, for that, what we're gonna do is search the SMTP address and see what comes up. So we'll run a query for raw logs. That's more of a broader scope, but just so I'm not missing anything like I have in the past, I wanna be sure I check all of the raw logs to see if I can find this address. Boom, and we just have one event. And we can see our source address of 172.16.17.137 communicated out over source port 35424 to the destination address of 84.38.130.118 through the destination port 80. And they requested some kind of shell script from this address via the get method, and it was allowed via the command prompt. Okay. So let's go ahead and delete the email because we don't need this in our environment if it's bad. So we'll go ahead and hit delete. It has now been deleted. If you want to be sure before concluding, you can do a search for the email again and see under final action deleted. Okay, so we checked the endpoint, we checked the emails, we checked the logs, we checked the reputation online, and I'm in agreement that this is malicious and attached to this CVE. So let's go ahead and move forward with the plays and hit malicious.
Next play is check if someone requested the C2. Please go to the management page and check if the C2 address accessed. You can check if the malicious file is run by searching the C2 addresses of the malicious file. And for this, I'm going to go with accessed. And we've already contained the endpoint, so we don't need to worry about this next play. Now we need to add the IOCs that we discovered in our investigation. That will be the zip file. So let me go ahead and just copy and paste, because again, we've been documenting everything in a Word file, so it's ready to go. All right, URL for the correct type. Then we'll go ahead and include the threat actor SMTP address. IP. And I like to make a good habit of defanging any kind of IP URL or word-based URL as well, as far as with the HTTP, putting the X's instead of T's, and then brackets at the final dot for the IP address, just to make sure they're not accessible to anybody reviewing a report or anything that might have hyperlinks enabled. All right, label that IP address. We'll add another one. Something we can also add to the IOC list was the requested URL. Even though we've included the IP address, just so we have all our ducks in a row, we need to include any kind of requested URL our threat actor requested and possibly engaged with if it wasn't blocked. Requested URL. And then we can include the hash for the RTF file. And then last, since this was dealing with an email, I like to include the email sender's address as well, just so it's noted and we can potentially block it as well. Defang that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in the domain as well of pm.me. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put in our analyst notes. And like I like to mention in previous alerts, I like to document as I go in my alerts. So I've already had it ready to go. We'll read it out to give you a breakdown. Okay. On February the 4th, 2025 at 4:18 p.m., RSIM alerted on artifacts linked to CVE-2025-21298. This CVE is a zero-click vulnerability in Windows OLE, a technology that enables embedding and linking to documents and other objects. Attackers can exploit this flaw by sending a malicious email containing a harmful RTF document. When the victim opens or previews the email in Microsoft Outlook, the vulnerability is triggered, allowing the attacker to execute arbitrary code on the affected system. We analyze the email sent to our user at austin@letsdefend.io, IP 172.16.17.137, and confirm the zip file attached to the email is indeed malicious with RTF file inside that would aid the threat actor using the IP 84.0.0 38.130.118 in Latvia. Or Latvia. Sorry, I know I butchered it. While inspecting the endpoint, we confirmed they accessed the threat actor's URL and observed malicious commands being ran on the machine. We have deleted the email from our environment and contained the endpoint for next steps with the user. Okay, that's good. And I'm copying this because we are going to paste that in our closing notes as well. We'll finish the playbook. Hit continue. We are brought back to our investigation channel where we can then select the check for close alert. And this is definitely a true positive. Let's go ahead and paste in our analyst notes again and see what we got. Ooh, I seen the confetti. I know y'all seen the confetti too. So the streak continues. We are at 184 days on LetsDefend, and it's just one day at a time. Seeing if I can make it to a full year. We're almost there, so we're gonna keep at it. So let's see how we did with the alert specifically. We are then moved to our closed alert section, and we can see we got the check mark for our results, and we walked it down with 100%. All right, so I know that was a lot. Anybody who's still watching this, thank you for sticking with me. We knocked out this CVE alert, CVE 2025-21298, and it was some great real-world CVE experience, and hopefully anybody who viewed this video found some kind of value in it. So don't forget, please leave any kind of questions you might have below. If you've seen an alert in my account that you want me to tackle next, definitely leave a suggestion down below. Try to get back to everybody, but life be lifing. All right, you guys. Top Cyber Dog. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm out of here. Peace.